So I'm Cody Goggin, author of Oliver Carter and the Tablet of Destinies. One of the main reasons I wanted to write this story is because as a fan of The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and even Star Wars, things like this, I love the hero's journey. And I love the idea of going to a magic school, a boarding school, being taken away from your ordinary life and finding something special inside of yourself. And I love tropes, honestly. So this is my hero's journey trope story. So Oliver Carter's not exactly a troublemaker, but he's someone who finds himself in trouble quite often. He's not afraid to stick up for himself, but he's also somebody who does try his best to do whatever somebody asks him. You know, he's not one to try and upset authority or adults or his parents, but he is someone who will stick up for himself against a bully and things like that. When we first meet Oliver, he's kind of in this rough spot where maybe his dad's not treating him the best, his mom's not real active in his life. He's got bullies from school and things like that. So then when he discovers that he has this magic inside of himself, he gets to go on a journey away from all these things that have been troubling him and discover something better from inside himself. So we know Oliver Carter's going to be going to a school called Featherstone. We start out, we don't know anything about this place. It's a total universe swap from the life that Oliver has lived up to this point. He has never heard of magic before, you know, other than maybe street card tricks and things like that. Now all of a sudden he's going to this ancient school where he's going to be learning things that he didn't even think were real 3 days ago. So in order to get to Featherstone School for Magic, every first-year student has to travel the Ruby Road. It's this sort of challenging path that they have to follow in order to get to the school. Along the way, Oliver meets some incredible friends. One of them is Leo Lewis, who is a bit of a book kid. In a lot of ways, he's probably a lot like me when I was younger because I love books, and that's kind of who he is. But not only is he that, he's very smart, very bright, so it's very valuable. And as a character trait, that's the thing that really makes Leo special. Of course, Oliver also meets Alora, who is sort of the polar opposite of Leo. She's the troublemaker of the three of them. She's the one who will go out and do a little bit more of the wild things that maybe they shouldn't be doing, always for a good purpose, you know, never nefarious or anything like that. She's not afraid to get in a scrap if somebody's bullying her or her friends. And that's who she is. She's a very tough character. She's got a lot of family history with magic, so she comes from that background where obviously Oliver has none of that. And so she picks up her part in the group as being sort of the tough character who's willing to get her hands dirty. Of course, there are bullies in this magical world too. It's not just in the real world where we're going to encounter these things. And we do encounter those things in the real world, so it has to be represented here too. And that's where Holly Sinclair comes in. She's somebody who's probably been bullying Alora for a long time, as long as maybe their families have known each other or seen each other somewhere. And so that's Holly's background. She's got two great big cousins who stand behind her, who threaten to beat up anybody that causes her trouble. And that's who she is. But there's a little bit more to Holly, and we'll find that out as the story goes on. That's all part of the journey. Any good school has professors, and any good hero's journey has their Merlin character to their King Arthur. Obviously, Oliver is this character. He's going to have his Merlin character, but it might not be who you think it is. And that's where Professor Gemstone, but also Professor Moonbeam come in. And they're probably not exactly what you're expecting, so keep an eye on them. It's a little bit different than maybe the story normally goes. In this world that Oliver finds himself in, they wear amulets around their neck. And these are like powerful objects that are crafted that can enhance people's abilities in certain areas of magic, whether it's a certain kind of stone around your neck that makes you better in water magic or fire, or all these different kinds of magic have associated amulets that can help you. And as a first-year student, they use these amulets to help the students have more control and have more power over their own magic as they're just starting out. Of course, knowing this is a very typical story told in a very typical way, I wanted to find things that could make it different from things like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. So I thought, in a lot of these wizard stories or witches stories, they're always riding brooms. Of course they are, broomsticks, that's how we travel. I thought it'd be interesting to do it a little bit differently, and so I've got flying carpets as the main use of travel. It goes back to Oliver Carter and the character he is before he discovers his magic, because he would ride a skateboard. And so his experience riding a skateboard translates to him being pretty talented when he gets on a flying carpet. There is a villain in this world, there is a villain in this story, and that would be Xaden, the Black Magician. And so there's not a lot that's known about Xaden. They're not allowed to tell students about it, but we know that there's this dark character somewhere in the world who's trying to discover something to make himself more powerful, something called the Tablet of Destinies. The Tablet of Destinies is an object that it has the power to change life and death. It has the power to change things on a worldwide level. It could be very dangerous if Xaden ever got a hold of it. So as we move through the story, we're going to find out a lot more about the Tablet of Destinies, the power it holds over life and death, and just what all it has to do with Oliver Carter. So I hope you'll go on that adventure. I hope you'll pick up Oliver Carter and the Tablet of Destinies. And I hope you'll have a wonderful time reading it. And I thank you for watching this. Goodbye.